Welcome to What's Your Story, where we, Jamie Marco,
And Stan Brown.
delve into the extraordinary lives of everyday people.
Listen in as we uncover the unique tales that shape who we are.
One story at a time.
Hey, let's get ready to explore today's story.
Let's do it. Hello, Dad. Listener, you can't see if you're not watching the YouTube video. So if you get a chance, go ahead and look at it. But Dad, what are you wearing
Just
today?
call me Buona.
Excuse me?
Buona.
What does that mean?
I think it means I'm your friend.
In what
It's
language?
actually a cannibal greeting
Oh, is it? Okay.
when they invite you for dinner.
Oh, okay. Why are you wearing
Get a cannibal invite you for dinner.
oh my gosh. Okay, yes, I get it. So you have this like hat on that is like a safari
You know what
hat.
this hat's called?
No, a pit hat?
No, not pit.
What is it?
Close. Pith.
Pith.
Pith helmet.
Okay, pith.
It was the glory of the English army when they wore all over India.
Okay, and why are you wearing it
Has a little
today?
thing on top where the air gets out of it. We live in the tropics. This is my gardening hat. Today I was supervising some trimming, nipping, tucking, and then we worked on plants. What do you think? Nice profile, huh? Hello.
Oh my gosh. So really funny. I just watched a film last night called, I think it's called Deep Cover. Have you heard of
You
it?
have time for that?
I know. Well, as you know, I pulled my back out, so I'm like kind of like, so sitting down
You
is good,
watched a
but
movie about down blankets?
no. So, okay, first of all, listener, I am a yogi. I go to yoga every single day, or not every single day, like 3 times a week. I love my yoga. I went, no, it's like my mind, it's honestly, it's more for like sanity
You must have.
than anything, yes. And I came back from yoga one day this week. Super great. It's hot yoga. Loved it. No problem at all. Went to go make my daughter some lunch, bent down, picked up a Tupperware, and then it happened.
It's the Tupperware.
I know, like don't use Tupperware. Like I should use something else.
Well, you should really, if you're lifting heavier things, you wouldn't have a problem with Tupperware.
You're hilarious. But it hurts. It hurts. And I had to go get some, deep therapy done where some like what you call pressure points. What's it?
The trigger release.
Your trigger release, which has helped, but it's been a lot of Advil, a lot of CBD, a lot of baths, sauna, like
You're
everything.
overdoing it.
I need to I can't function. I like literally couldn't function. But anyway, so last night we were like, let's watch a movie because I just had nothing left in me. And I think it's called Deep Cover. It's with the guy from Ted Lasso that was the assistant coach.
Oh, the little guy, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And with Ron Howard's daughter, what's her name?
She's from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, so I
It's,
forget his
it's, it's
name.
kind of a comedy then.
It is. So it's about improv actors who go undercover for the police. Have you not seen it?
No.
Oh, it's actually it's like super stupid, jumps the shark a few times, but funny enough to sit there, lay there and watch it. But what I loved about it is that people always ask me, like, where do you think your success came from when it comes to speaking? And
Improv.
exactly, 100% improv comedy. Like I trained in that when I was a little kid. I did a show, Tony and Tina's Wedding. I did improv at Second City in Chicago.
People don't get it. We play pickleball about 5 times a week. The improv availability is every moment, every conversation you have. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We were sitting there yesterday, mom's playing, and the guy yells, "Oh, that's your wife." She nails me on the court all the time. I said, "On the court?" It's hilarious. There's moments of sanity. Just delve deep, my friends. It's
But
there.
I
Every
think that's
conversation.
yes. I think that's the thing. You know why people don't do it is because people don't hear each other. They don't
They're
listen.
inhibited.
Yeah.
You got to scat. You
Yeah.
get loose. Who cares? Don't you can't embarrass yourself.
Right. Well, and then so I also had this week where my daughter said to me, Mommy, so and so at camp, I think she thinks I'm weird. And I go, well, what is weird? And then my friend was like, well, to remind her that everybody's weird. Aren't we all
Well,
weird?
abnormal is a deviation from normal, but if normal is strange, then abnormal is fantastic.
Right. But I really think that I hate those terms like nerd or dork or goth or weird because it's like, really, we're all just being us. So
But
just leave
the
it
problem,
alone.
I agree, but you can't change those. Deal with them in a fun fashion. That's all.
Well, someone who I think is able to deal with it with a fun fashion is actually our guest today.
Hmm.
So I met our guest at a conference a few months back and immediately was just like, wow, this guy is super cool. And we had a few conversations, hung out. I know part of his story, not his full story, but I think we just let him in.
Why not?
He is traveling the world. So I don't even know where he's coming from today, but we'll get a chance to see. Are you going to leave the piff, whatever hat on? Are you gonna leave it on? Like that's
Mm,
gonna stay on like this
It's
entire time?
very sunny in here.
Okay, I'm like John, just I welcome John. Don't mind
Buona, hello,
the
Buona.
uh the father today has decided to come in costume.
Okay, I like.
My pith is off to you.
It's
Yeah.
so good to see you again. I was just explaining, we are recording now. I was just explaining in our pre-show chatter how you and I met at a conference months back. And immediately I was fascinated by your story. And I was like, hey, want to be a guest?
And John, she's not easily fascinated.
Oh wow. Okay, well that's good for me to know. Yeah.
Well, we're so happy to have you. Where are you in the world today? Because I know you are a world traveler.
So I'm in my at my home office in Orlando, Florida.
Ooh,
Okay.
howdy.
I just got back from Las Vegas last night. Uh,
Ooh.
very late for work. It was good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, off to Tampa Monday and then Detroit Tuesday and then I don't know where after that, but yeah.
I
Oh,
mean, when you wake up in the morning, do you have to remind yourself where you are all the time?
no, I'm a planner. So
Okay.
I'm ready. I just,
Just a big thank you from all of us in the Social Security phase. Keep working,
okay.
healthy. Don't stop.
I might have to remind others though where I am, but I don't have to think for myself. It's good.
Got it. I've had those moments where I was like on a plane so many times a week and I woke up and I literally had no idea where I was. I'm like, where am I right now? It's not, they're not fun. They're not fun
No,
moments.
no, no. No, and I've been doing this for a lot of years, so I've kind of gotten used to it. I get more stressed when I'm not traveling for a length of.
Really?
Oh
Oh.
yeah, if I'm home for 2 or 3 weeks, I think both myself and my wife get a little frustrated. Don't you? They'll be like, "Don't you have somewhere to go?"
She like books you a flight to nowhere.
Yeah.
Is there a meta message in
Yeah.
there?
Good bit.
Well, we like to start every episode off asking the same question. So, first of all, thank you for being our guest, and we're going to get into your story and what makes you who you are. But we do like to start off every episode by asking the same question to get a feel of where you are. So, today, actually, right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being it's the best day you've ever lived, you don't have a worry in the world, there's nothing like bothering you to a one being that everything's bothering you. You shouldn't be peopling. Your energy is really poopy, and you should not have got out of bed to talk to us today. What is your number right now?
Fractions count.
Okay, so I'm very pleased to report that today, the word poopy, that's the first time I've heard it today. A good
Get that
thing.
secret wine and you get
Yeah,
$20.
yeah, yeah. I must be winning. I must be winning. I feel like today's a 10. Honestly, I'm having a 10.
I
It
love
Yeah,
doesn't
it.
you
get
throw a
much
Vegas
better.
time.
Yeah.
Wait, so it's 10, red or black?
Yeah. It's no, I'm generally the guy that's glass is overflowing, as opposed to half full, and normally it's a 10. But today especially, I'm at home. I'm with my wife. I'm with my dogs, and it's Friday, and
There's nothing better than that.
happy hour is getting closer and closer. So I'm a 10.
But you're so far from the beach.
Well, that could be part of why it's a 10. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
Well, I love that. And so you're traveling all over the place and I know what you're doing now, but take us back to where did your life start? Where did you grow up?
Oh, okay. So I grew up in North Georgia in a
Okay.
little, very, very small town called Ellijay, Georgia.
I know LJ. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then it's really small. When I was growing up, I mean, we still only have one high school for the whole county, and I was in very, very small class. But my family, I'm first generation American on my mother's side of the family. My grandfather was Egyptian, and he was a fighter pilot in the RAF who worked his way
Wow.
up to brigadier general and later became ambassador from the Arab League to Japan and then to the UN.
Wow.
And back in those days, Jamie, he would, you know, I would say affluent Egyptians sent their sons and daughters to university in the US or Europe, And
Yeah.
my grandfather, a lot of people that listen to you, I'm sure know, he was a lifelong Rotarian, and he secured a Rotary scholarship for my mom to come here.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
that's how we crossed the water. But yes, I'm first generation.
Did you know him when he was alive?
Oh yeah, he was essentially like my father. Um, the- I'll try to shorten this, but mom was unchaperoned for the very first time in her life when she came to university, and she met the school's, I guess you would call it equally naive, 6'4", blonde-headed, blue-eyed basketball star from Alabama.
Oh my
And
God.
she thought he looked like a movie star, and he thought she was an Egyptian princess, and boom, I was
Oh,
conceived.
Wow.
So it was a little rough. As you might imagine, my devout Muslim grandfather, upon word of the pregnancy, he more or less disowned my mom
Oh,
oh wow.
financially, emotionally, don't come home, don't write, don't call. And so she was on her own, and
Oh,
she chose to live in LJ, and that's where I grew up. But my grandfather had two daughters, my grandparents, Lulu and Salah. Um, I had two daughters, and I was the firstborn male in the Muslim family who also carried his name for Reed.
wow.
So I would spend my summers growing up in Egypt,
wow.
being treated by a prince, by the way, while my mom would remain shuttered in the back bedroom where only the women could visit her. Like I rarely got to see her all summer until we were flying back to North Georgia. And in North Georgia, there was no support, so we lived primarily on food stamps and welfare. And
Wow.
that's where I grew up until I graduated from Gilmer County High School in LJ, Georgia. Very exciting.
Wow.
What a
So did
crazy.
you ever have a relationship with your father at all?
I did. It was off and on. My father was my mother was very subservient, being that culturally where she came from, and he would come and go, and he was I call him a militant school teacher. He was pro teacher all the way, and moved from school system to school system, often because of um, uh, how do I put this? He would be very strongly advocating for better pay and circumstances for teachers, which made it difficult in his positions. He'd write op-eds in the Atlanta Constitution and whatnot, but he also had a penchant for spending shorter periods of time with my mom.
That's nice.
So I had two brothers, 6, 7 years apart, the three of us. So I'm almost 14 years older than my youngest and 7 years than my middle. Because he would come back and mom would take him back and boom, hey, you got a little baby brother coming. Yay, awesome. So it was an interesting time, but it was good. It's a good question. A lot of people don't ask that, but mainly my grandfather was the consistent, you know, he's the one who said, John, it's your senior year. You're 18 now. Where are you going to go to college? And I told him, I said, I'm not going to college, which went over great. He said, he said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to be a magician, you know. He's like, what? What do you mean a magician? Like, hey, watch this, kids. He's
Yeah.
like,
Get out
no.
of this situation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like, no.
Can I make myself disappear? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like, no, that's not going to work if you're not going to university. And he was very strict at the time. He told me, if you don't go to university, then you're going to have to go in the military, like me and my father and my grandfather before me.
Wow.
And I was frustrated. And I said, Grandpa, we don't have to go in the military in the States. I'm going to be a magician. He said, no, you're going to go in the military. I'm going to disown you. And I knew what that meant because I had lived it for 18
Yeah.
years. So I thought for a minute, and one of the things I can tell you, Jamie, is he was very good he treated me like a little man the whole time that I was with him growing up. And he took me everywhere. I mean, he would take me to lunches and dinners and cocktail parties and business meetings and introduce me as his son. But he taught me a lot about business, like the importance of long-standing relationships when you meet people, or negotiation and those. I mean, he made me negotiate for everything. I mean, do you negotiate ice cream? Do you pay extra for sprinkles? Because we did it. I mean, it was one of those things. But he also taught me about face, the concept of face and honor. So I looked at him and I said, "Look, you're asking something very big of me. And you taught me that if I don't ask for something equally big of you in return, that you won't respect me as a man." So I told him that I would go in the military if he'd take my mother back.
Big
Wow.
challenge.
You're 18 years old telling your grandfather this.
He must have been dumbstruck.
Wow. So
You
what?
know, it was. That's
Or
very.
proud at the same time, though. He must have been
No,
like, wow.
dumbstruck, trust me.
I don't think he got to that part for a while.
Okay. Okay.
At first his reaction was silence, and then he slammed his hand down the table. This was over a quiet lunch, just the two
In
of us.
Egypt or here?
Yeah, no, in Egypt. And I watched him walk out onto the veranda, and he lit himself a cigarette and he poured himself a whiskey. I'm telling you, that was a rare thing for sure, especially at lunchtime, in the middle of the day. And he came back in and he sat down and he stared at me in silence for like 20 minutes, which, he had taught me one of the keys of negotiation is that once you make your ask, you do not speak.
That's one to talk loses.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
first one to talk, yeah.
Yeah, first one. So eventually he looked at me and said, "Okay, I will take your mom back. I'll do this, but it has to be the US Marines." And
You,
I was like, "Oh, I was like, what do I know? I don't know what I'm committing to." But I said, "Sure." And we shook
you should
on.
have said Boy Scouts for
Yeah,
Christ.
yeah, yeah. The Boy Scouts would have been a lot more
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, yeah.
But he basically we agreed on it, and the very next day he took my mom back. He walked down the hall. I watched him. He walked down the hallway and he knocked on her bedroom door. Her name was Mervit. Said, "Mervit, come join us for lunch." Um, it was very emotional. She said,
What the hell's going on?
"Yeah, she did." And he said, "Your mom, Lulu, is going to take you shopping for a new dress and to the salon, get your hair and nails done. And we're going to go to the country club this afternoon to have lunch with the whole family."
Holy crap, what a turn. And how many years has she been disowned for? Up to
I
18?
was, yeah, 18 at that point. So,
so
I
knock
mean,
on the door.
literally, they had barely spoken or said a word to each other. So my mom looked up from her breakfast. I'll never forget. And she was just kind of taking it in. And she said, "What did you do?" I said, "I'm going to
You.
the Marines." Yeah.
Was she happy? Was she like, what was her?
No, 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 no. Needless to say, she was not happy. But I will say, that day at the Gezira Country Club in Cairo, Egypt, was super special, and it opened a door for my mom and the family, and obviously it opened a new adventure for me going to the Marines because 2 weeks after graduation, boom, I was off to Paris. That's how I got out of LJ. Actually, it was
Oh.
went straight to Paris Island, South Carolina. Woo!
And then your brothers, so you have two younger brothers, were they,
They were still at home, yeah.
okay.
They were still at home because I was 18, so one would have been what, 11, and
Seven.
the other would have been like, you know, 7 years younger than that, and still a kid.
Did
So,
your grandfather start to then help your mom and support her while she lived in LJ, like welcoming her
well,
back?
2 years later, they sold everything that they had. They were very affluent. He had opened the Nile Hilton with Conrad Hilton, and then was head of Hilton's Middle East division. He was head of public relations for Egypt Air. I mean, he was a formidable character for sure. But they ended up selling everything and moving to North Georgia to be close to us within a
What a
couple.
move.
So it was totally worth it, to be honest. And in a way, my grandfather did me a big favor because it kind of continued the education, the Marines kind of continued his education of me,
Yeah.
whether he realized it or not, because I learned how to work with teams and the importance of resilience and adaptability, I would say, in the face of challenges, things that really helped me later on. So
Oh,
it was good. But yeah, so they moved back, so it was awesome. I don't know who was more proud of my Marine Corps uniform, him or me. It was
yeah.
a contest, but it was good. But
How long
eventually
were you? How long were you
I
in the
did
Marines?
go on to do magic, so it was good.
How long were you in the Marines for?
6.
6 years. And what
It
years
was,
was that? What
it
year?
was long time ago. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, it was. I went in
Any
at
conflicts at the time when you were in the Marines? Like anything that you actually had to do?
no,
Got it. That would be okay.
no. Few conflicts. 81 to 86.
A long
Okay.
sign up, man. 6 years. Oh boy.
Yeah, I did 4 years reserve. 4 years active and 2 years reserve. So as soon as the reserves kicked in, it was time for me to pursue. It's time I could finally go after the magic. So I
Wow.
finished up. Yeah.
And then do you speak fluent Arabic as well too because of your upbringing?
Shwaya Shwaya. If I'm in Egypt for any length of time, I still go for work and whatnot. I'm back in like that. But when I'm back in the States and I don't get to practice it as often, I will say this. Every time I get in a taxi or an Uber with someone that I suspect might speak Arabic, I practice the whole time.
Yeah.
But my Arabic's pretty good.
That's amazing. And then is your mom and dad still around? Are they still around?
No, no, neither one. And my mom finally divorced my father, or vice versa. I don't know all the
They
details.
did that. They did end up getting married. They were married eventually.
Yes, they were married. Yes, legally.
Okay.
And eventually he was with another woman who I adored. She was a great lady. Our whole family liked her. For like 27 years they were married.
Wow.
Yeah. So it
And
was
you have
good.
more siblings on that side as well from the two of them.
No, they never had.
Got it.
No, they were beyond childbearing age, I would say, when they got together.
So you go to the Marines, you come out and you're like, that's it, I'm gonna be David Copperfield, or are you illusionist, or what kind of magic, what happened next?
Okay, so I picked up and moved to LA, like the Clampetts, you know. It wasn't quite Beverly, but it was close. And I'm going to shorten this because we don't have days. Uh, I wanted to audition at the Magic Castle, the
Oh yeah.
famous nightclub. I auditioned and I got in and I started.
Yeah, that's tough to do, man.
And self-taught, like all this stuff is self-taught magic that you've learned
Yeah, it was. I didn't
with
really know
YouTube
that.
back then.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know there was another magician for years growing up, but I learned it all out of magic books. Essentially, had 700 magic books at the time.
Ooh.
But I auditioned, got a gig, got an agent, Vegas. I was in Vegas for seven
What was
years.
your stage name?
Uh, John Fareed. That was
Very clever.
Yeah. I was very creative, very creative.
The amazing John
Yeah,
Fareed.
exactly. I didn't even go by amazing. It was the magic of John Fareed. Could have been a chef. The food could been anything.
Hairstylist, you could be
No,
anything.
it was a great life. I was casinos, cruise ships, nightclubs like
Yeah.
the Magic Castle, the Moulin Rouge in Paris, Crazy Horse, different things. Anybody who would pay decent money, and it was a good life for a long, long time um, until my mid 30s, I guess. And I came to the realization that a lot of young men come to that I had no, I really had not had any long-term relationships that were worth talking about.
Hmm.
I mean, we can all talk about them, but
Oh,
nothing
they're worth
worth,
talking about and like content.
nothing worth speaking of. I
Yeah.
had no home, no car, no dog, no kids. And when I was in my mid 30s, I decided to make the natural pivot to hotel consulting. Um, and I got into the business that I've been in for more than 30 years now.
Do you think that was a little bit in your DNA because of what your grandfather did with Hilton, or was
I
it
would,
subconsciously?
I wish I could tell you yes. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
But really, I didn't find out about, later in life, I found out what my grandfather did with Hilton.
So
When I
what door opened for you?
Well, the door open for the hotel industry stuff. There was a great, wonderful Italian, gorgeous man who was a magic fan. He was a fan of magic and magicians. His name was Michael Diliberto. He lived in Baltimore. And he would show up at conferences or events, and we would hang out and play. We became good friends. And one day I was in Baltimore, uh, and his where he lived, and I went to see him, and he had this gorgeous two-story office in the World Trade Center overlooking the water.
Oh boy.
He was like a kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And we went to lunch and talked and played magic. And afterwards, he said, "Do you want to come to my home for dinner tonight?" And I was like, "Sure." So he drove me in his beautiful Jag to his beautiful home up in the hills. And I met his gorgeous wife and his two kids and his dogs and had a great dinner. And afterwards, he and I are just having whiskey. Everybody else has gone to bed. And he said, "So where are you off to next?" I said, "I'm hopping on a cruise, going down the Caribbean, Western Caribbean cruise." Woo-hoo. For me, I was like, it's work, three
I
ships.
worked on a cruise ship for 2 years, so I'm feeling you. I'm
Yeah,
feeling
you
yeah.
know, you know. It sounds so
Yeah.
sexy.
You may have been on the board with me. I don't even know. I got to look at the dates that you were working on ships, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm a lot older than you. I'm certain. But no, and I even had a passenger cabin as a
Yeah, as an entertainer.
a featured entertainer. Yeah. So he said, I would love to have your life. I'm like, what? I have two suitcases.
And they switched
Was
lives.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
Friday? Are you John?
exactly.
Did you ever switch
Exactly.
back?
Two phones.
Yeah, so I told him, I said, "Are you serious? I would give anything to have your life, beautiful home and family and car and like stability and good money and all of that." And I make great money. I wouldn't say it's amazing money. I'm not Copperfield. Thanks for the inspiration there. But I said, I would love to have your life. He says, "Oh, you can do this. Like, I'm sure you could do what I do, as far as consulting and whatnot. You just need to find a space that you understand and travel. You could do that." And I will tell you, I believed him. And 2 months later, I hung out my shingle as Fareed and Company at the time. And I got into hotel consulting, and that was
Wow.
30 years, 30 some years ago.
That alone is magical.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So it was good for me, but I just started out as a solo practitioner
Yeah.
and worked my way up, through to where I am today within our industry. But it was a long journey. I honestly, I write about it in my book,
Mhm.
but it was a long journey, and it was one that I could not have made for sure had it not been for the power of personal branding and some of my grandfather's business advice. But the idea of putting some goals on a piece of paper and pursuing them, because over that time frame, I kind of rebuilt a career from scratch. It was incredibly, if you had asked me back then, 1 to 10, I would have been like -4
Mm.
Mm.
on the stress. Because if you think about it, Jamie, I was at least 15 years behind everybody else in the industry.
Yeah.
Think about it. Kid comes out of hotel
Yeah.
school and starts out at the front desk. I'm
Mhm.
15 years behind that kid. So it was a lot of catch up.
But
So
also ahead because you went to like the College of Hard Knocks, right? Like doing all the stuff that you did in Vegas and being in the Marines and like just because somebody was working in the industry, they didn't have exactly the same experience that you had with people.
I agree. I agree. It's still, I still had the symptoms, I would say, of imposter syndrome very often, if that's such a
We
thing.
all have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And whatnot. But I ended up really, really focused on how to become the guy, the expert. And that meant, going back to college. I went back to college and I earned 2 postgrads. Back to college. I went to college and
Right.
earned a couple of postgrads in hospitality management in Dublin, Ireland. I was speaking and writing within the industry for our trades and whatnot, which I will tell you, my strategy was very similar to the magic in that I got involved in and became an active member of professional associations, which I know you're a member as well. But for me, it was instead of the Society of American Magicians or the International Brotherhood of Magicians, which are legit. It was, the Hospitality Sales and Marketing Association International, and I became a member. Got on committees, the board, and eventually I was global chairman of the 8,600 member HSMAI International Foundation. I got invited to join what at the time it still is very prestigious, the International Society of Hospitality Consultants. Did the same thing, got on committees, the board, and eventually became global chair of this society, which I'm very proud of. But I would write for all of our industry trade pubs. And again, only instead of Magic Magazine and The Illusionist, it was hotels and hotels. It was the same kind of discipline and thought processes. And I began speaking at all of our industry conferences, but I would earn certifications and designations and awards and everything to try to pull myself up. And it worked. And it was, for me, it was great because I feel like I passed all those people that I was behind 15 years. It's like,
John, the power of misdirection.
that's right. That's right. It's a very powerful thing.
Now, was your grandfather around to see some of this change and the success happen?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would say he was never braggadocious about the Magic Boy days. But as I got into the hotel space and began getting some recognition and awards, I used to carry a portfolio when I would go see him and say, "Hey, here's some recent stuff, articles."
We love it, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he would sit and read it and look at it, and it was a space that he understood, from a platform, hospitality. He understood it, and I had gone from the Marine, which he was proud of and understood, but for me, that was think sameness, haircut, uniform, even
Yeah.
vocabulary was kind of predetermined. To Magic Boy, which was mysterious and eye makeup and highlights and rhinestone
Oh, we
tuxedos.
need some pictures of that. So I need that.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'll send you some. I'll send you some. Yeah, they're really scary. But yeah, I have them from Vegas, so they're quite stunning. He didn't appreciate, he called it Hully Gully, all that Hully Gully magic stuff, which used to make me laugh, but he said it so sarcastically. And then I became this conservative consultant, which fell in line with him, suit, tie, dress shoes, pocket silk, just we have to be refined. So it was a good transition. It was a great question.
I have a magician question.
Sure.
How many magicians that are out there typically eventually create their own tricks, illusions, whatever? Are they what they do the standard stuff, or they actually wind up creating some of their own stuff?
No, everybody usually creates something of their own. Absolutely. And that's like in anything in life, it may be reinventing something that's a
Mhm.
standard or I mean, I did for many years, I did Houdini-style stunts. So straitjacket escapes from a crane, hanging upside down, with a little burning rope and things, or the milk can escape and all of those because it was big money
Yeah.
and it was less competition and it was usually once and done kind of promotional events. But you could get 10, 20 grand a night at a club or something. This is back in the 80s.
Putting
And
your life at risk.
yeah, yeah, well, yeah. I know my mom used to say, "Why do you feel the need to put your life at risk to entertain total strangers?
Right.
Don't understand it."
If
Hey,
you
I never
live,
looked at it that
yeah, if
way.
you live, we'll pay you 20 grand. If you die,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry.
What the heck? We'll take a risk. But yeah, it was different. But yeah, everyone I know develops, or everyone that's worth discussing or talking about or hanging out, they develop, it's a craft. It's
Yeah.
a craft. And no one wants to be duplicative that's any good. They want to develop their own material, make it
It
real.
sounds like your uniqueness was really almost death-defying things. You could get physical harm, or you could be harmed physically if it didn't go well.
Yeah, it was great. Right after the Marines, I was kind of used to it. I'm like,
Any
all right.
major fails?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I really didn't. I don't know, looking back on it, the risks that I took at that time. Um,
It was work.
It was work and very often naive. Uh, I used to do a lot of things. Jumping out of planes was, I wouldn't do that again, probably. I wouldn't rappel out of a helicopter again. There's a million things that I probably wouldn't do again, but at the time seemed like a great idea. Yeah, let's
Like,
go.
yeah. Well, so here's my
Yeah.
question. Like, who is the real you today? Like, you have that conservative side of, hospitality where you're wearing like the straight suit, right? Versus
Yeah.
like the straight suit, like where do you live today?
So without question, I am the C-suite executive. As I'm global chairman of the world's largest hotel, tourism, and leisure advisory firm.
Mm,
So
Wow.
we're
impressive.
we're in about 60 countries, 250 senior partners. And I started out with this group as one of the guys in Orlando and worked my way up to become chairman of the North America, got on the board. Same story
Mm.
as before. And now I'm global chairman. I've been global chairman for some years. Got a couple more years to go under my belt. But now I think I'm migrating into that personal branding expert that speaks, writes, and advises people. Uh,
Mhm.
I think that's the space that I want. But I'm enjoying now. I work with the biggest brands on the planet to help them develop global strategies. I compete with McKinsey and BCG for Deloitte for work. And I work with a lot of family offices, high net worth families
Mhm.
four right now on various hotel projects, resort projects. And it's a great, great challenge. But at some point, I'm going to be ready to um, be a full-time speaker, writer, and whatnot. So that's who I am today. But the Marines were not my choice, let's say. Let me put this into context for you, Jamie. When I was in high school back in LJ, Georgia, and if anybody watches this from my class, they're going to laugh their asses off. I was captain of the chess team. I was president of the drama club. I played tuba in the marching band. I was the hot guy in school. I was the catch.
Yeah.
So when I came back that summer from Egypt and told everybody I was going in the Marines, everybody's like,
Oh,
"Oh, are you sure? Like, are you going to be okay? You
yeah.
know, I wasn't the sports guy. And they were like, can you even run a mile? I mean, are you going to? So it was good. I had a dear friend of mine from school whose father was a former drill instructor who took me
Oh boy.
Oh,
he took us both to Paris Island to show me what boot camp was. As
wow.
soon as I got back, I started running. I didn't quit till I got there. I mean, I was like, I got to get in shape. So I went in, I weighed 186 pounds when I went in. I came out weighing 147,
Woo.
one main muscle. But
Mm.
that wasn't my choice. I'm glad that I did it. It was totally worth it. It was, I gave my grandfather the opportunity to save face
Mhm.
and take my mom back. So it was good. The magic was totally my choice and I enjoyed it. But at some point you realize this same friend of mine, Michael Diliberto, the Italian, he
Mhm.
gave me a great lesson, and he doesn't even know it. He may not know it today, but I told him I'm going to be a great magician. He said, "You already are a great magician," and I said, "No, but I want to be like one of the greats." He said, "Okay," and this is back in the day. He said, "Who's the top paid magician right now on the planet?" I was like, "David Copperfield." How much does he make? I don't know. 15. He makes still today $50 million a year. Who's the next one? I'm like, well, at the time it was Siegfried and Roy. They made 20 million. He's like, all right, so from one to two, we're already in half. Who's the next one? At the time it was Lance Burton.
Oh,
I
yeah.
said, I don't know, he makes maybe eight. And who's the next one? Penn and Teller, maybe five. Who's this guy? I don't know who that guy is. He goes, who's the next five? I said, honestly, I probably in the next five. I could be over here. And there's probably a lot of us over here. He goes, yeah, I'm going to tell you, you're good, but you're not that good. Like at some point it's like if you're a pianist and a singer, you got to have that thing. I don't know what it's called,
Yes.
but
Yeah,
it,
I get that.
yeah, it's that thing. And Copperfield could have been an actor, a model, a bunch of things. He just chose magic. And Siegfried and Roy were the same. They were gorgeous men with incredible stage presence, with their accents and their panache.
Yeah.
Um, Penn and Teller, the odd couple of magic, I call them.
Yeah.
Lance Burton. I mean, they all had that. And in a very nice way, he told me, you need to keep doing what you're doing, kid, because you ain't got that. You know, you're not going to be that debonair guy. So it was a bit of a shock, but it was a childhood dream and I pursued it. Now I feel like through all of that, I found the place that I was supposed to be in, and probably why I told you 10 today.
Yeah.
I'm very, very happy being the C-suite hotel advisor, globally recognized expert in the space.
That's so cool. So, help our listeners understand what your role actually, like, what do you do in your role? Like, what does that mean? Like, you're this hotel consultant. You started off, 27 years ago. Like, what does that look like? You're going in and telling hotels what your sheets need to be softer. You
He
need to
says,
have,
be nice
like,
and turn the lights
yeah,
off.
like, what is it? Yeah. Like, what does that look like? So, tell us about it.
So what we do as advisors, collectively, is almost anything in the hotel, tourism, or leisure space that doesn't involve brokerage.
Okay.
So some firms and great firms, they're great firms, JLL, CBRE, names that we all know. They are on more of the brokerage side, and they're generalists, even though they may have a hotel practice. We are, for the over 100 years, we have been absolutely focused 100% on hotel tourism and leisure. So that makes us very unique. Secondly, we are a highly educated senior group of executives, best in class. We really are in each of our countries. We are very well known as a team of individuals, but we work on new builds, new build hotels, resorts at the very beginning. We do feasibility market studies to prove that, yeah, this would be a good spot to build that particular hotel. We work on strategy, whether it's with brands or owners who are looking. Like I had the occasion to work on Wynn at the very beginning with Steve Wynn, or reposition Canyon Ranch back in the day for Mel when he started it. But I also work with people that are interested in building a new property, or they have an underperforming asset, because it's
Mhm.
it's really what we call
Terminology.
lodging real estate investment, and
Okay.
I will help them turn around an underperforming asset and many things in between operations, food and beverage, spa and wellness, all of those areas. And many of us are very specialized, whether it's, we have world class spa and wellness, for sure, and everything in between. So my specialty areas, new builds, repositionings, and strategic development, whether you know, for instance, recently a brand bought another brand hotel,
Not
and
easy.
they wanted a strategic plan for the next 5 years on how they're going to proliferate and grow that. And I helped them develop that plan.
So
Great.
most of the hotels, they outsource the expertise.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, they're busy running hotels and
Sure.
resorts or getting new owners or whatnot. But most of the hotel companies today, the ones that you'd be familiar with, the Hyatts, Hiltons, Marriotts of the world, they don't really own any hotels anymore. They're all asset light. What they do is they have brand franchise agreements, licensing,
Mm.
management, and then all the operations and support systems that go with that, like the Bonvoy
Sure.
Yeah.
programs.
Travel.
They don't really own, they don't own assets. That model has changed.
John, have you found, and not to oversimplify a complicated situation, have you found that people really need to return to basics in most cases? They deviate from the basics and they lose their path somehow, but going back to basics, things start to work better?
It's a great question, and a great approach if you think of it that way. But unfortunately, we live in a world now, as you know, that we would call the information-based economy, knowledge-based economy, where a lot of that is kind of SOP. I mean, they're really good at taking care of a guest and operating. It's gotten a lot more complicated. So it can be a myriad of things. For instance, point of sale system, inventory, um, maybe a renovation. It's time for renovation so that you can, better compete. The investment would pay for itself in a few years because you're going to get a higher rate because guests are going to appreciate you more, and be willing to pay for it. It can be a myriad of things, but always the basics should be there. They should always be there, and it never hurts to have a refresher. So it's a great question,
Mm.
a great approach, but I wish it was that simple. But I mean, I have two postgrads in hospitality management from a great school. In Dublin, Ireland. I am still learning every day.
I love that.
It's like drinking from a fire hose, because things are changing. Think about how AI, for instance, is attacking our industry and our distribution channels. And before that, how do we get through COVID? Before that, how do we get through the 2008, 2009
Gosh.
break? How do we recover from 9/11?
Yeah.
Um, how do we meet these people that want to never talk to anybody when they come into a hotel? They just want technology and they just want to, pick this up and check in and check out.
I'm the
Um,
complete opposite. I'm like, no, I don't want a digital key. No, I don't want like I want to like talk to it's so funny, right? But most people are like that. You know, you mentioned a couple different things that would have hit your industry pretty hard, right? Mostly what I can think of, the most recent one would have been 5 years ago when COVID happened. I mean, going back to the word that you loved, what kind of a poopy time was that?
Yeah,
Uh,
goodness,
but I'm
uh,
like thinking about like that must have been a really like hijacked moment in your meetings where you guys were like, oh crap, what do we do now?
it was a
it
paradox.
was, it was. So now we got poopy and crap. This turned out to be a
A
real
lot of
shitty
money already.
combination.
No more secret words.
You're spot on, and it depends on where you were at the time in the industry. Meaning, as an advisor, we have a saying: "Survive until the dive," because no one calls us when things are great unless they're
Right,
building something new, right?
right.
It's generally, hey, I got a problem. I need a fix, and I'm willing to pay for it. Great, let's talk. So survive until the dive is for us during that time. It was for most of us. It was very beneficial. For the operators, obviously, it was a time to take advantage of that PPP money. It was a time to renovate the property if it needed a renovation to keep some people employed and make the most of that downtime. I would say people who were well positioned, meaning they had survived something similarly before, kind of knew how to wade through that water and it was a little bit easier. But others, one of the things I have a company, a management company, and a partner there. We manage, for instance, a food hall in Hawaii, um, big, 16,000 square foot food hall. Think $1 million a month kind of food hall, and
Where in
it's
Hawaii?
in Waikiki. It's right in the
Oh,
international marketplace. It's
I've been there. How long has it been there for?
uh 7 years.
Oh, I haven't been there in 7 years. Okay, got
But during that time, we sprang into action to figure out what was going to happen. Think strategy. Just to give you an example, the government in Hawaii, meaning the Defense Department, realized that they were going to have to quarantine sailors and pilots and
Oh,
their teams before they would deploy them. So they went to the hotels and said, hey, we want to house our people there for 2 weeks, make sure everybody's clean, test them before and after. We want them to stay sequestered in their room with one other sailor or one other pilot or whatnot. And we need you to, sign a contract to that effect, and we'll just keep running them through. Many hotels had 100% occupancy that time at maybe a little bit of a discounted rate, but they weren't doing all the traditional guest services and housekeeping,
yeah, they're
and
saving.
they shuttered their restaurants. And what we did was go out to these hotels because we had, as you might imagine, we had some relationships,
Mm.
and we said, "Hey, we'll contract and do breakfast, lunch, and dinner delivery, door to door, for
Wow.
the whole thing." And we started doing Grubhub and Uber Eats, which everybody was using at the time. If you
Yeah. Yeah.
you would not believe how resilient the food hall was at that time because we
Mm.
had minimal staff and we're cooking 3 meals a day and pushing them out as quickly as we could,
Wow.
not just to the hotels, but also for delivery,
Mm.
Uber and whatnot. And we survived. And I think that was a great lesson for not just for me and my business partner, but also for the team and the employees that they got good leaders, and that we're going to be resilient. And we still had to have help from our PPP loans, but essentially it seemed like everybody was finding their way to the next phase. I
Mm.
was on the very first flight that was allowed commercial flight that was allowed to land in Honolulu. I was on that plane because I'm like, I got to see what's going on. And
Right.
it was a real weird experience to walk the streets of Honolulu when they were empty. Yeah.
I
But
bet.
it's a good
It's almost
question.
like unbelievable that that ever happened, right? Like it almost feels like it was a bad dream.
Yeah, for my team, meaning for Horwath HTL globally, I want to tell you, I adore them all. They're the most amazing humans, and they're very, very knowledgeable. But we were more fortunate than a lot of them because it's all based on your country and your
Yeah.
geography.
Hmm.
Who's going to open, who's not going to open, how they're going to handle it. So everybody's challenges were quite unique and interesting based on where they were geographically, just like they were here, the difference between Florida and California or,
Yeah.
and others.
Yeah. New York, New Jersey, yeah, all over. So I know we don't have much time left, and I want to be respectful of your time. So as someone who is just finished my first book, it's not coming out yet, but it's like in development to editing. I know that finding a title and getting the right title is something that is like you really want to be on. Your book, From Invisible to Icon, right? That's the correct title. Tell us a little bit about how you came up with that as your title and where that all came from.
So I want to tell you three things very quickly. One is the title for me was absolutely key. And it came from the idea that literally I started in the industry, I was invisible. And I spent my entire career trying to become the guy at the conference that everybody wants to talk to or wants to moderate their panel or keynote or interview for an article. And it really started with the idea that I went to a cocktail party at the early conference and I noticed there were individuals that everybody went to.
Mhm.
They're like, oh, I got to see so and so. He's an icon, And if they had a problem, they wanted to talk about their problem with that individual,
Yeah.
not because they had said anything clever at the cocktail party or they were better looking than me or any of that. It had to do with their reputation and how they had positioned themselves in the industry. And I thought, I was struggling at the time starting my business, and I thought, I want to be one of those guys. Like that's what I want to do. Because they would walk right by me and not even say hello to get to that guy.
Step on your foot. No.
Yeah, almost. And I felt and I had that feeling of invisibility, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
I
I
think a
hear
lot of
that.
people feel this, feel that way. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so I was on a journey, personal, quiet journey, not something I would ever communicate to anybody at the time, that I'm going to go from this invisible schmuck to icon. And in
A
my
very well-known schmuck, is that what you're saying?
yeah, today exactly. And older, yes, older, very well-known schmuck.
Nice.
And that was the gist of it. So my title kind of fell into my lap. And when I did the subtitle, I want to give full credit to a guy named Jim Burba. I had an excellent guy in our industry, smart thinker, very, very successful. I said, read my book, tell me what you think. He called me, he says, okay, you've got your subtitle wrong. And I said, how to become an expert in your industry is what I had. He said, yeah, you're not teaching people how to be an expert. You're teaching them how to become a known expert in their industry. And that
Oh,
changed a lot of the language for the book going forward. I had to re-edit the book and
yeah.
add some things and whatnot because of it. So it's not just your title, I think it's your defining subtitle. The other thing too is I would tell you, I would desperately beg you to find a publisher that will help you, even if it's a hybrid publisher, help you as you go through this with real distribution. Because
Yeah.
without distribution,
Good.
mine, Simon and Schuster, without distribution, you don't get as far as you need to. Self-publishing will get you so far. You will make more money. If you're after money, you will make more money self-publishing for sure. But the idea that I could call Barnes and Noble in LA or Orlando, or I was in the Fifth Avenue. I don't know if you looked at any of my Facebook. I had a line for an hour and 45 minutes at the Fifth Avenue store in New York at Barnes and Noble with my book. And it had everything to do with, even in Ireland. I went to Ireland and I had a great book signing at an historic bookstore in Dublin, downtown, the most iconic store. Had we not had distribution,
Yeah.
they would never have done it. None of those stores. And I did Honolulu, of course, the Barnes and Noble there and Amawana Mall over there, all Amawana Mall. A great event, massive event, because distribution allows them to order through their systems,
Yeah.
Barnes and Noble or whatever bookstore, and take as many as they want and return as many as they want, and they will invest in you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you're a self-publisher, they don't have the ability to do that, and they're a little put off. I'm not going to say they won't do it, but I think that's key. I also think the PR that I got around it, some of the nice bits and pieces of press were very good. Lastly, having said that, none of those book signings happened because of anybody but this guy.
Mm.
I had to pick up the phone, call every store, talk to the store manager, send an email, sell, sell, sell. Sometimes it took me 5 days to do that, meaning not all at once, but over a period to talk about investment of 5 days, and it was good. So I enjoyed it. But book titles I think are key, but I would not try to do anything that didn't make sense for you.
Yeah.
Like what is it that you're expressing?
Yeah. When is your book signing in Cairo?
Well, wouldn't that be awesome? As soon as the Arabic edition comes out,
Really? I'm excited in
well,
the
which is
works.
not going to happen, which is not going to be happen. I was just in Egypt not that long ago working on a project, and I would tell you, I don't think people are going to buy my book until they're really not worried about buying food or clothes.
Oh,
The
yeah.
title in Egypt may be This Book Sphinx.
Really?
Jinx! Oh my God! Now I see why you keep those around. All right, it's not just the pit. It's not
I
just the pit
mean,
helmet. It's
childhood.
I can.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Too much sun, too much sun.
All right, I'm gonna teach you one. You ready? This is for you.
Yeah.
You can do this when you get home. All right.
Okay.
I'm doing it right now.
Da, 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 da.
Da, 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 da. Up or I'm a Trino. Da, da,
I
da,
know.
da, da.
You want me to show you how it's done?
Yeah, go ahead. He's faster.
Wait, did you just go like that? Did
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
do you
No,
have any like easy magic tricks that you can teach us that we
I
can
just did it. I just did
like
it.
besides
That's it.
that?
That's it. Anybody under the age of 6 will be blown away by that trick. Okay, it's like the old thumb. It's like the old thumb
Oh
trick.
yes, yes.
And you have to say, "Do you want me to show you how I did it?" afterwards, because they will go, "Yeah," and then you know you got them. All
I
right.
would say yeah all day long.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good.
So I know you had said, like at one point you were like, something's got to change. You were in your mid 30s. You wanted to have that, picket fence, the dog, the wife, all that kind of stuff. How did you meet? We'll just wrap up real fast. How did you end up meeting your wife? Like at what point was that in your career path?
So, I have to be completely transparent here as always.
Okay.
So I had a wonderful relationship with a lady and had a beautiful son who's now 27 years old. And
Wow.
he's my rock star and I love him very much. But we get along better than than I did with his mom.
Okay.
So we were together for a long time.
So,
Beautiful, beautiful life, and then things
Hey,
change.
life happens.
Yeah, so my current wife, she's not into kids. She's into dogs. So we have two fur babies, which I adore very, very much.
What kind?
Well, one we don't know of, it's a rescue, but I'm pretty sure she's either part coyote or
Oh,
or Australian, some Australian predator dog,
okay. Not a dingo.
Yeah, yeah, this is it. We call her a dingo when we're out, and people are like, she looks like a coyote, and
Wow.
she moves like it and everything.
Could be a coyote.
When I got home last night, she like nipped my lip, giving me kisses. That I was like, did you give her a treat earlier, please? And the other is a dachshund. We've had two dachshunds together, um, and I love them both. So the dachshunds were Louis Vuitton and Hugo Boss. And this rescue, we lost Hugo in January, unfortunately, after 11 years. But the new rescue, she was already called Lady, so we didn't have her from a young age. So she's still Lady, but she's the most unladylike dog. And then, but no, I met my current wife 12 years ago on Match.com.
Oh, I met my husband on Match.com or
Oh,
12 years
there you
ago.
go. It's
12 years
magic.
ago. That's so
That's the
funny.
real magic. That's the
It
real magic.
is. It
Yeah.
is. Yep, we met 12 years ago as well. We were both living in Chicago. Were you in Orlando when you met your current
I
wife?
was. I was in Orlando. And yeah, I went on 67 Match.com dates before I met my wife.
Oh my gosh. But you know what? You got to kiss a lot of frogs. You do.
Yeah, yeah. And some were tastier than others.
I used to give it, so I used to give it like the three strikes you're out kind of thing with online dating. I would like get on there and I'd meet, I'd give it different trial periods. So I'd go on and I'd meet somebody and they meet somebody there and I'd be like, okay, the third one, if it's going to be, I'm going to go off for a while. Like I'm just going to go off. So I did that a couple times. And I remember I just told this story yesterday. Online dating is really challenging because of all the catfishing. Someone puts these pictures on, then you meet in person and they don't look like their picture. And I would make the mistake of where I would meet somebody online, we'd be messaging back and forth for a while. So you start to like their personality, you start to really enjoy them.
Sure.
You meet them, but that physical attraction's not there because they lied. So I remember it was New Year's Eve, and this was like it was my second, I think it was like, no, it must have been like my third of the batch I was going through. And this guy was like, let's meet. I'm like, well, it's New Year's Eve. It's in Chicago. I'm like, let's meet for a coffee like around 1, and then I've got plans tonight, whatever, we're just gonna meet for a coffee. And there was this Starbucks in the Gold Coast in Chicago that everyone went to. And during the winter, it was freezing in Chicago. So a lot of these people that were, homeless or living on the streets would come in, get a coffee, and sit in there. And because I'd go there all the time, you get to know them, and you'd say hi. I meet everybody, and they know who I was, and we would know each other. So one day I showed up for this date at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I walk in, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm here on a blind date. I'm getting ready to meet somebody from Match.com." And they were so excited. They couldn't wait. So they're sitting over here. I'm facing them. So when he comes in, his back would be to them. So the guy walks in, and immediately I know it's him because he sort of resembles his picture, but he was not who he was like. It was, and not that there's anything wrong with this, but his body was a little bit different than he had explained. His facial hair and body, it was just,
All right, you don't need to go into
yeah,
details.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
beautiful. It was
Yeah,
beautiful. It was
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. So he sits down, he's facing me, and all these guys that are like not showered, like they're living on the streets are behind him. And immediately, as soon as he sits down, this is what they're doing. No, no, get out, get out. Please, do you need our help? Do you need our help? Like it was, I will never forget that. And it was amazing. And we talked for a minute, and then I was like, all right, peace.
And this marriage has lasted 12 years.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, there's a
I
lot of
love
stuff.
that. I know so many people who've met
I love
online.
it.
And I think it's a great way to go. It's so much better than hanging out at a bar or, friends
Yeah.
introducing you. It's just so awkward. But yeah, no, mine was similar. We met at Bahama Breeze.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's where we met
I
in
love it.
Altamont. Yeah.
And I met my wife over a dead body. It's true story. True story.
They
True.
worked in a hospital. They weren't killing anybody. So yes, that's a story for
He
another time.
worked in the operating room.
Yeah, there you go.
He was
Yeah.
stone cold dead.
Amy, I just have to say, next time you need to get a co-host with some personality.
I did the best I could, John. I did the best I could. Specificity, you know
Get it.
Didn't say Jamie.
I get it. I get it. Awesome.
Well, we are.
Are you going to be at
I'm
an
not.
influence? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not, but I'll be at the one in the fall or the whatever the one.
Yes.
Yeah. But I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to meet you, even for a short time there, and having this conversation. We are now forever connected. I look forward to seeing you at another conference soon.
Facebook, you'll see.
But yeah, I'm obviously on Facebook, but I just think it's so, your story is so, I didn't know a lot of it. And I just think it's so cool how you started off
You
with,
didn't read the book.
I know, you know what? I don't think I
You read
have a
the
copy of
book.
your
You
book. Do
read
I
the
have a copy?
book.
I need to get a copy of your book. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
We need a signing in
I
Sarasota.
know. Yeah. Well, you're going to be in Tampa. We're not far from each other. So I'm just going to be like, hey, I'm headed to Orlando. Come meet me. So,
I will have one with me. I will have one
all
with me.
right.
John, do you play pickleball?
My wife is playing pickleball right this minute.
I want you to send Jamie her address because I have created myself and patented the world's first and only pickleball musical birthday candle. I'm sending some to you.
I would love that. I mean, she eats and breathes pickleball.
Oh,
So,
You're in.
she's there today. I will do that. Please.
all right. Yes, I will reach out to you. We'll get your address. We'll send it off to you. And if you're ever down in this area, we're in Lakewood Ranch, but if you're ever down here, if I'm in Orlando, I'll reach out to you. But I know our paths will cross again. I'm so grateful that you said yes to being our guest.
No, this was a great pleasure, and I
Okay.
thank you for the time that you've given me.
Yeah.
I'm speaking specifically to you, Jamie.
I
Yeah.
am now the host of my show. Listener,
Yeah,
you can't see I pushed my dad to the side.
that's awesome. But no, I get down your way and I will look you up. I'm in Tampa actually the next couple of days. So
He's getting very pithy.
yeah. Oh my gosh. This shows the pith.
John, I'm going to give you my famous 5-syllable sign off. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Abracadabra. The 5 syllables?
And I would, if
That's
I were
right.
you, I would just hang up now.
I love you guys. I hope you live forever. I really thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to connect again in the future. We appreciate you.
Candles
Bye,
coming?
John.
Yes, candles
Yes,
coming.
I will get the address. Bye, John. Thank you.
Guys, cheers.
Oh my goodness.
Good time.
Right? That is, I mean, it's just so cool, the people that you meet. Like I would have never known some of those things about him. And I mean, I knew what he did for a living.
Quite
But
unassuming guy with a lot of talent. And he
yes.
knew what he wanted. He was focused on what a circuitous path.
Yes. LJ is famous for something. I don't know what it's, I feel like there's like a movie based on
All
LJ.
I know is Days In. I don't have all these other fancy names. It's too fancy for me.
Whatever. That's such a lie. No, but he was so amazing. Like I just think it's really cool to hear the story about how he's taken his life from the moment he was born and what he did with his life and changed it.
You
And it
been
just,
at a conference?
yeah, we're both part of the National Speakers
At the same
Association.
table or something? Or
I can't remember if we were sitting at the same table or if we did sit at the same table a couple times.
keep meeting these kind of
I
people.
know. Well, you know what? I never met somebody, or never, what is it? I never met a stranger. Is that what that's the saying is?
I have no idea.
But I learned a lot of that from you. A lot of that, when you're in a room, you connect with people and you talk with them, and you're famous.
When I retired, I stopped doing that.
That's not true.
Well, kind of true.
I mean, you're like famous for, so listener, my dad was in new home sales forever, and you're famous for like having people sit on the toilet to see if it's comfortable,
Hey,
get in the shower.
techniques. Come on, jeez.
But you talked.
I did shower with a few clients.
Oh my God. But you did talk about getting back to those like the fundamentals. And I think that if I think about the way that you became the top seller everywhere that you did, it's because of those fundamentals of connecting with people. And that's huge. And I think that, I was actually just going through some workbooks. I'm doing another training for a team coming up. And I was going through all my old references of stuff that I've done. Because I think when you lean back into the old school ways, but modernize them,
Oh, sure.
it's really still foundational. And like that's why, I talk a lot about phones. Like there's a whole movement of younger, I think it's maybe Gen Z, whatever, who are getting rid of the smartphones and going back to a flip phone or going back to no phone at all and only a home phone because of that fundamental need to just get back to just people, you know?
Well, I once said the phone phenomenon is so relatively new in the scope of things.
Yeah.
We're seeing the negative aspect. People are turning that stuff around.
Yeah.
It's an evolutionary process.
Ay, we could have a whole podcast about that. All
Man,
right,
I'm
Dad.
drained. I'm not
That
going
was
back to work. I'm finished. Shoot. If you like pickleball out there, call us. Let us know you like pickleball.
all
Woo-hoo!
right, listener. We hope that you enjoyed John's story as much as we did. If you did, leave us a comment. If you have someone who you think should be a guest, let us know. John, if you're listening again, thank you so much. So grateful. And until next time, that's his
Hey,
story.
Joe Rogan, thanks for checking in. I appreciate it.
Bye, listeners.
Hey, thank you for tuning into today's What's Your Story podcast.
To learn more or share your story, go to jamiemarco.com. That's www.jamiemarco.com. And we will see you